Jabari Smith has a chance to be the NBA's next big star. With the NBA draft right around the corner, it's finally time to start talking about these top level prospects and how they would potentially fare in the NBA. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy Sports, I make opinionative NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. This is a very exciting time. Right after the Golden State Warriors just won the NBA championship, the NBA draft is right around the corner. And in my opinion, there's a bunch of different players in this year's draft that have the potential to be stars. And we're going to be talking about one of those players in this video in Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith is a very interesting talent. He has a lot of the same capabilities that a lot of other players that went high in their respective drafts had as well. And that's versatility at that big man size. The amount of different skills that Jabari has offensively is absolutely perfect for the new age NBA and is one of the biggest reasons for why he's getting projected to go so highly in this year's draft. So now let's talk about some of those skills that make Jabari so special. So starting with his 3-point jump shot, Jabari has a really nice ability to hit that catch and shoot 3-point jump shot, whether that comes off the pick and pop or literally just standing at the top of the key and spotting up from there. But Jabari also has a pretty nice ability to put the ball on the floor and cross over into a 3-point jump shot, sidestep, or even step back, even hit a nice little one dribble pull-up 3-point jump shot. From that 3-point range, especially for his size, Jabari is extremely versatile. And not only is Jabari able to basically do everything from that range, he also shot a phenomenal percentage, shooting 42% from deep, which of course isn't necessarily something I'm expecting from him once going into the NBA, but it kind of just shows the level of shooter that he really is. But now talking about his mid-range shooting ability, Jabari has a really nice game from that range as well. Of course, he has a pretty nice catch and shoot mid-range jump shot, has the ability to cross over, sidestep, and step back. He also has a really nice one dribble pull-up from that mid-range area. He has a really nice post turnaround fadeaway, which is something that I mentioned in a lot of my videos, but I think in order to take your game to the next level, at least your offensive game, it's a very important aspect to incorporate within your game. So the fact that Jabari already has a pretty nice post turnaround fadeaway within his game in college bodes well for him in the NBA and his efficiency numbers in the NBA. But now talking about his driving and finishing ability, this is also another aspect of his game that he does pretty well. Whether you talk about him running the pick and roll and just finishing a nice little layup or dunk around the basket in that offense, or you talk about him creating for himself, he has a capability of doing both. But when he is creating for himself, Jabari does a really nice job at finishing around players with crafty layups, either his left or right hand, and also does a really nice job at finishing through contact. He of course is pretty tall, athletic, and long, and has the capability to posterize some players at times, but mostly what he does once driving all the way to the basket is just finish around them with crafty layups. Now also around the basket, Jabari has a really nice touch and also has the ability to put up a nice little baby floater or maybe just a baby hook shot in the post. But although Jabari certainly has a bunch of different aspects to his offensive game and is super versatile, I would probably say the best aspect of his game is his jump shot shooting in general. Now even besides his scoring ability, Jabari also has a relatively decent passing and playmaking ability and a decent basketball IQ in general, and although he isn't necessarily a phenomenal passer and playmaker, the fact that he is able to find teammates either cutting all the way to the basket for a wide open dunk or maybe finding them at the top of the key for a catch and shoot 3-point jump shot is certainly very valuable for a player at that 4 position. Now besides that, I would say he's a pretty good rebounder, and defensively I would say he certainly is above average. And overall, the complete package of Jabari Smith is definitely a very valuable one. Now although there is a lot to like about Jabari, there are certain negatives about his game, and probably the most obvious is how skinny he is out there. Now honestly, this is a trend that happens a lot with players that are super versatile offensively at that big man size. That archetype of player is typically a very skinny one, and Jabari Smith is no different. Now Jabari even said himself that he needs to put on around 20 pounds, and I would definitely agree with that. He might even need to put on some more than that, and the reason why it is an issue that Jabari is so skinny is probably he's going to have some issues early on with stronger big men, as those type of players could easily just back him down all the way and put up some nice easy hook shots in the post consistently, and especially once it comes down to the clutch, that could be an even bigger issue for him, and it could even get to the point where he would be a liability defensively, and whatever team does end up drafting him would need to take him out of games late. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that will happen because Jabari has proven the ability to be a really good defender, but there always is the capability of that when you have a very slim frame that Jabari does. But now let's talk about a few different potential landing spots for Jabari and how he would fit in with those teams. So in my opinion, the versatility of Jabari's skill set would mean that he would fit in with basically any team that he could potentially get drafted to pretty well. But starting with the Orlando Magic, who do have the #1 overall selection, I think Jabari would fit in pretty well with this team. He could run the two-man game with him and Markelle Fultz pretty well, running the pick and pop or even the pick and roll. And although the Magic do have a lot of big men, I still do think that Jabari would fit in pretty nicely with this roster, as he is so versatile and could even potentially play the 3 position due to that versatility, although I would like to see him play the 4 more often, and I think that's his long-term position, but of course that is a possibility in Orlando. But now moving on to the OKC Thunder, I think this also would be a really nice spot for Jabari to land, as he could run the two-man game between him and Josh Giddey, or even him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander pretty effectively. Now honestly, I think this would be a better fit for Jabari in OKC rather than Orlando, although as I mentioned, I do think the Magic is a pretty good landing spot for Jabari, but I think the fact that the Thunder have more point guards / forwards on their roster rather than big men would lead this to be a better fit in my opinion. And also in OKC, obviously there wouldn't be all that much pressure on Jabari, as nobody expects the Thunder to win right away, so that would certainly be a positive for Jabari. Now of course there is a possibility that Jabari does get drafted with the #3 overall selection to the Houston Rockets, and I would say he would be a pretty good fit there as well, for a lot of the same reasons why I said he would be a good fit in both Orlando and OKC. But I personally don't see Jabari going past the 2nd overall selection, at least in my personal opinion. I just think he's that good of a talent, and probably if I had to guess at this point, I would see him going with the #1 overall selection to the Orlando Magic. But of course, anything could happen on draft night, we'll see. Now in terms of the potential for Jabari Smith long term, I certainly do think he has a capability of being an all-star type guy, and maybe even a superstar type guy for the long run, and I think so due to the amount of skills that he does have offensively. But of course, in order to get to that point, Jabari would need to fill out a little bit more than he is currently. He would also need to polish some of his offensive skills a little bit more and just get a little bit better offensively as a whole, even though he's already really good. And if he was able to do a lot of those things and really just feel comfortable at the NBA level, I certainly do think he has a potential to be a superstar type guy. But of course, at this point, Jabari still has a long way in order to get to that point. But I guess only time will tell what ends up happening with Jabari's career. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Jabari Smith has a capability of becoming a superstar type guy, or at the very least an all-star, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, check one of these 2 videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out guys.